Welcome back, everybody. Thursday morning edition of Hot Mic, off and rolling here. Much more on the football portal conversation. We'll do that coming up in our second hour of the show. Typically on Thursday at 10, Jory Collins joins us as we chat some Bison women's hoops. I don't know if it's 2025. He's blowing me off. If he's a big deal, what's the deal? But I'm super pumped to have women's basketball assistant head coach Dylan Geissert join us. What's going on? Your boss what's he doing? He can't do his normal bit here. What are we doing here?
Oh yeah, he's got some individual skill work today with some guards.
He's working apparently. Okay.
Yeah, it's
all
like
right.
You know him. He's not missing a chance to get in the gym. So.
I hope you guys had a great holiday. I want to chat a few things here. Obviously, the game Sunday played out the way it did. Was it a holiday hangover? What did you see when you go back and watch the tape from the game against Dakota Wesleyan?
Yeah, I think obviously coming off of Christmas break, there's going to be a little bit of that. And Dakota Wesleyan's a really, really good team. They're top 10, 15 in the country at their level. Really, really well coached. He does a tremendous job. And so coming into that, maybe underestimated him a little bit. And so just trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. Make sure that our girls are preparing the same way, no matter who we're playing. Getting their mindset the same, no matter who we're playing, is kind of some things we talked about after that game.
Now that you're getting ready, so you have your Summer League opener coming up, not till Saturday. What was this week spent doing to get ready for St. Thomas coming up in a couple days?
Yeah, obviously being on holiday break, we're able to get a little bit more work in than normally with classes going on. So we spent a couple days really focusing on ourselves, some things we felt like we needed to get better at. And then, yesterday, today, tomorrow, we'll start really the preparation for St. Thomas. And really it's kind of back into the routine of the 2-day prep that we typically do, and just get our girls back into that routine. Obviously with no school, they're, less routine oriented right now than they typically are. And so we try to do everything we can to make it feel as normal as possible for them.
You have traversed the country. Were you the one behind the scheduling here for this season?
I was not. So Jory and Michaela, our director of ops, kind of put that together. But December was a whirlwind for sure.
So when you saw it on paper, then you live it out. When did it get like, okay, we're in the grind mode here? When did it get to that point for you?
For me, it wasn't until Seattle, that last trip out there to play Washington and Boise. The first couple, like going to Alaska, was really exciting for everybody. And obviously that's the first trip. And so everybody's excited to go. And then you go to Charleston for Thanksgiving over that. And, there's a lot of our families travel really, really well. Our kids' families do. So it was really fun to spend a holiday down there with some really nice weather. A lot of family fans down there supporting us. And so that one was fun. And then, like I said, when Washington, Seattle trip hit me, I was like, oh, I'm kind of feeling this one a little bit. And not really even just the travel part of it, but just you've been away from home for so long. That part of it really started to hit me probably that last trip.
Did you feel the team did as well, Dylan?
I feel like they handled it really, really well, honestly. And so I know coming out that Washington game in Seattle, that first quarter was obviously pretty poor for us. But they did then come back and play really 7 quarters of really, really high level basketball against 2 really high level teams in Washington and Boise. Felt like they handled that well. Jory's talked a lot with you also about how we've been up and down, and when we're really good, we're really good, and when we're down, we're not so good. And so I think that was, again, just trying to figure out how we can maintain a pretty solid level of play and not have so many peaks and valleys.
What did you learn about the team facing that level of competition that you did?
Yeah, and to play Washington after the first quarter, I think we won by 3.
Yeah.
And to just demonstrate that we're capable of that against a Power 4 team, with 2 6'4" post players. Rebounding, something that we've talked about a lot, because to start the year we weren't a great rebounding team. We were losing the rebounding margin on pretty much a game-by-game basis, and have kind of got that turned around in the last 3 games between Washington, Boise, and then Wesleyan. And so that was something, we felt like if we could out-rebound Washington, we out-rebounded Boise. To do those things against that level of competition and that size and athleticism, demonstrated to us that we're perfectly capable of that, and something is we need to continue to do.
You look at the couple of the games I'm sure you have with like Charleston Southern, Tulane. You look at the Drake game, obviously to start the year. You look back like, okay, we're 8-5. Easily, we could be sitting here 11-2 right now, right?
Yep. Yep. It's always frustrating when you feel like you've let a few slip through the cracks. But we're super grateful for where we are record wise. You know, we've talked a lot about trying to grow every game. Being more consistent with our young group is what's really, really important for us. And so, again, just trying to find ways to make that happen, you know, doing anything we can as coaches to help that happen has really kind of been our focus.
So, knowing how young you were going to be, and I want to get to Marissa Frost here in a minute because talking with her and seeing her play, that's been a revelation. But for your sophomores, knowing you were going to ask more of them, how have they stepped up, in your opinion, through the non-conference season?
Yeah, I feel like they're doing really, really well. Obviously, with multiple people, young players stepping into new roles, expanded roles, there's going to be some growing pains. But I felt like we've settled in over the past maybe 4 or 5 games to a starting lineup, to roles, to knowing who's going to get the ball at the end of the shot clock. Those sorts of little things throughout the course of the game were really new for our group, and they've kind of gotten more and more comfortable with who needs to make the play at the end of the clock, who needs to take the shot, who needs touches early in the possession, where the ball should go, that sort of stuff. And so, really, hopefully, going to continue to see some more growth as conference play starts and what we're doing. And like I said, I feel like the growth through the first 13 games through our non-conference season on the offensive end has been tremendous.
We're seeing a couple highlights of Marissa Frost here. Now, I know you've had a chance. You've basically known her for maybe 4 or 5 years now, but the fact that she's had the impact that she's had this early, is that surprised you, the kind of success she's had?
No, I don't think so. I think if you watched her when she was in high school, if you watched her in her AAU program with the Minnesota Fury, you know the kind of competitor she is. You know how smart she is. You know, she's a 4.0 student,
Yeah.
so she's going to catch on right away to everything. She's going to make adjustments really, really quick. And so after about the first maybe 3 or 4 games, when she got used to the speed, the physicality of college basketball, you could really see her settle down both mentally and on the floor, to what we were doing. And like you said, she's been tremendous. She's a much needed spark for us when she comes off the bench. I mean, I know she's playing 25 minutes a night, starter minutes, and she's just been great.
When she drives to the basket, I asked her about this because it looks like she's almost out of control, but that seems like when she's in the most control.
Yeah, absolutely. She has always had a little bit of awkwardness and it looks different anyways because she's left-handed. And
Right.
so the things she does just don't look that natural in the first place. And then you factor in she plays with a little bit of awkwardness in the way she finishes around the basket. But it, like you said, it's just all of a sudden she floats one up there and it touches the glass and ends up going in. And she's just demonstrated that she can do that over and over again over the course of her career.
This might be blasphemous to say, but to me, there looks like a bit of Heaven Hamling in the way she goes. Is that accurate from what you've seen?
Yeah, I would say so. There's definitely that level of competitiveness.
Okay.
You know, the difference there probably is Heaven was very outgoing with her competitiveness. You know, she was very rah rah. She was going to celebrate with her teammates when something happened. She was going to celebrate when she did something good. You know, we all laughed because Marissa could do something amazing and she's just going to have a smile on her face afterwards.
Yep.
There's not going to be any fist pumps, any screaming or anything like that, but she's going to be smiling and just probably a little bit calmer that way than Heaven was.
All right, so Summit League play begins now on Saturday. You have the rare where you only have one game this week. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You like a little more time in the gym, or would you like to get going tonight?
Honestly, I don't know that it matters for us. It is weird because this is the second year in a row for us. Last year, we had the bye right away too. So it's been a little bit weird to have that 2 years in a row. You know, there's perks to both sides of that, to getting right back to it and the extra day or two to prepare for your first conference game. So I don't know that we would have a preference either way.
So it's down to St. Thomas. This is a team that you guys handled last year. Their same core, and we were visiting off air, is all back. I know Jade Hill's back, who's been really, really good. They got a couple of bigs that are productive. they're a year older. How much more dangerous that make them for what you're going to see on Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. They're a very well-coached team. Obviously, Coach Sin has been there for plenty of years. So they're very established with their culture, with their system. And then we all know that when you can get the same group of 4 or 5 girls together, let them grow for a few years, you're only going to get better and better. And so they've demonstrated it already this year through their non-con that they're a very, very good team. And so we're looking forward to the challenge.
These are the teams that know you the best. And what's the inherent challenge with that now for the next 2 months, that these are the teams that, even in this era where there's so much movement, they still know what you like to do?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that is a challenge for coaches as well. Can we mix things up, just minor little tweaks to what we're doing to screen them a different way, send somebody somewhere where they normally don't, those sorts of things to help our girls. And then our girls, I think they do a really good job of trying to make their plays. And people are going to try to take certain things away and really just trying to execute what we put in the game plan that week for the best we can.
All right, enough of the basketball stuff. I left the most important question for last because you recently got engaged. Jory told me this, and we need more confirmation on the trip to Alaska. So give us the backstory on how long you had this planned out.
Okay, so yes, I did it in Alaska. I had been working with a proposal planner up there. Obviously, I had no clue about, how to do anything up there, what would be a good place to do the proposal. So I found someone online and was working with them for probably 6 weeks before the trip.
No kidding. Wow. Okay.
That really took a lot of the stress away for me, was having somebody maybe handle that part of it while I wasn't up there. The most stressful part actually was flying from Fargo to Anchorage with a ring in my backpack. Like, every single stop, I was like, is it still in there? Is it still in there? But I was pretty calm other than that. That was the worst part.
Okay, so then you wanted a trail? Like you were up a mountain? Give us that part.
Yeah, so there's a scenic overlook that kind of overlooks Anchorage that you're able to drive up to maybe the top of this mountain.
Okay.
And the walk out to the overlook was 90 seconds. So it wasn't too much of a trail at all. But it was kind of set up there over the overlook over the city for me when Taylor and I walked up there. And so, like I said, it was pretty cool to be able to do it in a once in a lifetime place, probably. Who knows if we'll ever go back there. And so, Taylor and I both being from Kansas, it was going to be hard to get friends and family up here for the proposal. And so once that wasn't really going to be possible, I was like, well, how can I make this as memorable and as cool as possible?
Awesome.
And I felt like that was the right way.
Okay. Did she have any idea before you asked?
She says she didn't, but I think she probably knew a little bit. She knew I had the ring.
Okay.
So she was kind of clued into that, but probably not exactly like when and where things were going to happen. She maybe just knew that it was coming shortly.
And there was no hesitation, right?
Nope, not on either end, thankfully. I got the right answer, got the yes, and everything was smooth.
And you had the ring, like you didn't jump, had to fumble for it or anything like that, correct?
Oh, yeah, we were sitting in the car right up the mountain, and I'm just holding it in my pocket, being like, don't drop this in the car on the way out. Just make sure.
No turnovers, right? No turnovers, right?
No turnovers. Make sure I got the important thing.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations on that. I really appreciate you coming on. I will say Happy New Year. Good luck on Saturday. We'll talk again soon, okay?
Awesome, Dom. Happy New Year. I appreciate it.
Good to see you, bud. There he goes. Dylan Geissert joining us, NDSU women's basketball assistant head coach, joining us on this Thursday morning. Bison open up Summit League play on Saturday. The Bison men open tonight with St. Thomas. That's a heck of a game. We'll preview that coming up in our second hour. You'll see that coming up later tonight here on WDAY Extra. We'll break. We come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. Big second hour on tap. Got a few emails to get to as well about our conversation we're having earlier on the Jackrabbits and the Portal.